She Can, we tell women's stories. We interview women from all over the world to hear their stories, how they got to where they are today. And I'm very excited to talk to Sneha Shah today. Sneha, welcome to She Can. You're Mumbai-born and London-based, and you're an artist who founded Curaty in 2019. You lease and sell curated fine art by early careers artists through bespoke curatorial services, which include art experiences, rental advisory services across the UK and India. I think you've built up something very important because you take young artists and give them an opportunity to be paid and exhibited. And as you always say, less than 33% of graduates from art schools have any representation whatsoever or any chance of getting paid. So I think what you do is very important. You've built up numerous art collections from South Africa to the UK, and you are expecting for your revenues to really go up immensely this year. Tell us more about yourself and what you do.
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. It's a real privilege to be here. So I'm Sneha Shah. I'm the founder of Curaty. So Curaty, as you beautifully mentioned, is a platform where we really try to champion artists, but we're also really trying to educate buyers about how to buy art. Curaty actually stands for curating with a Y, but comes from the Greek word curio, which actually kind of means like shepherding one's soul. For me, art has always been a heart opener. I truly believe that if more of us lived with art, if more of us opened ourselves up to our own creative impulses, we'd be living in a very different world, maybe even a more empathetic world. And that's actually the foundational basis with which I founded Curaty. In 2015, I graduated as an artist from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Little did I know back then how lonely it is to be an artist in a studio. You're just there with your thoughts. It's very different when you're in an education system. You basically graduate as an entrepreneur, but no one actually tells you that. So I went in post-art school, like most people got a job, went through the system. I realized I had a slight knack for business, but I also had a passion for really wanting to change the way our industry functions. I saw a niche very quickly at my job prior to starting Curaty, where I was managing a corporate art collection for a big family. And there I kind of started an employee program where we used to hang art across the offices. I genuinely saw the benefit of having art in offices and how it can really boost employee morale, actually open up their minds to their own culture, really even use it as a cue to talk about companies' values and missions. And that's kind of when an idea started brewing in my mind, what can we do with this? So when after that I moved to London, got a master's in history of art, decided, what, let's try an accelerator. UCL, the university I graduated from, had an accelerator for history of art, for graduates, but no history of art student usually goes to an accelerator, which is another thing I found frustrating. So for me, it's always been about kind of pushing the button a little bit. So as a solopreneur, I applied to the accelerator, got in, launched Curaty via that. Our initial model was all about how do we create better work environments through art. So we started an art leasing model. This was 9 months into the pandemic. Okay. So then the pandemic hits, right? And Curaty has to pivot. It's an important moment in a journey when you have to kind of pivot a company. Nowhere in my SWOT analysis did I ever think workspaces would indefinitely close. And so in that moment, you come down to your why. And for me at Curaty, our why was, I'm doing this to champion artists. What else can we do? And that's when we launched our e-commerce platform, where we really help first-time buyers connect with early career artists as well. So we moved from being a traditional kind of leasing model to a platform that really now looks at advising art and really opening up buyers' minds about how to collect art as well.
And you find you artists in colleges, at their art shows when they finish college, and what convinces you? What are your what are your motivators in what are you looking for? How do you choose your artists?
That's such a fantastic question. So I choose the artists based on the collector. So what an art advisor is slightly different from a gallery model. As art advisors, we represent the client. We try to understand their tastes, who they are, what they're looking for. And oftentimes it's a bit like being a therapist and a wealth manager, where you're really trying to break things down, understand the family's entire intention. They're going to be living with these pieces for a very long time.
Yeah.
So we really try to get into like the psyche and really understand, okay, who are you? What do you love, truly? And how can this collection really represent you and your values and your goals? And for us, when we look for artists, we go in with that intention. So when we look at art schools, we always look at recent graduates. We also really try to support galleries that are, galleries have hierarchies too. And I think the younger galleries are the ones that take the most risk in our industry.
Yeah.
And we really try to support them as well, and kind of try to buy more works from them, because I think they're doing a phenomenal job trying to keep our ecosystem growing.
Sneha, so how you had to pivot? I understand that completely. So amazing that you were able to do that. How do you see your business going in the next couple of years? Will you integrate all of your ideas in this one company?
My ambitions for Curaty are wide. I started this company on a mission to create a world where everyone every day can experience the power of art, not just own it, but really see it. Oftentimes, when you go to collectors' houses, they get shy to talk about their collections. The confidence is missing. That is my biggest peeve. I really want to change that. How can more of us go into museums, feel so confident that we can express ourselves? You don't need an art historian or a label to talk about artwork. There's nothing to understand there. So for me, it's really about how can we break that mold. So we do have a few things brewing. We're actually going to be launching our new website in a couple of weeks with a little surprise there for our next steps. But for me, it's really about extending that even into education now. How can I teach more people? Because there's only one of me, but I feel like there's so many other practitioners out there that are doing a phenomenal job. So the future of Curaty is really how can we integrate and assimilate and bring on more creatives and give them more of a platform as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. But before we launch, so I'm gonna hold that in for a minute.
So, what do you feel are your top qualities? What are the qualities that you have, Sneha, that really serve you every day?
I would say passion. In the pandemic is the moment where I realized how much I just love art. Um, Not being able to walk out into a museum, into a gallery, and just see some fresh pieces, that really held me back. So I would say the passion for it. The other bit would probably be with passion comes grit. Being able to pivot, being able to move forward. It's been 5 years now. As a solopreneur, the journey is not easy, I promise you. There's no other kind of thing as being a solopreneur where a mirror is constantly looking back at you and you're constantly growing and trying to improve your qualities. So I am quite self-reflective, which I think does benefit an entrepreneur, because you're constantly trying to grow. And with that growth, you can empower others and bring your team along with you as well. So I would say definitely those. And I like to think creative. I think being a woman and being creative comes with its own strengths. I genuinely believe that women need to run more femininely run businesses, because a lot of times we try to take on the masculine energy in the way we run our businesses. And I feel like there's something really beautiful in running a business from a place of creativity, intuition, and heart. And that's the way I plan to grow Curaty as well. And I would say those are my qualities.
Yeah, I love hearing that, of course. So, what are your challenges, Neha? What are your pitfalls? What are you struggling with? And how do you come up with visions to go forwards?
That's a great question. My biggest pitfalls is I'm an emotional person. So sometimes taking things that happen in the business, not as like a personal, um, not as like a personal kind of not attack, but fall.
Yeah.
That's something I'm totally working through. Being a lot more open about that, realizing that this is just a moment of growth. It's an opportunity to grow past this. Every challenge comes with emotion, especially when it comes to humans. HR is its own thing. And I think being a woman kind of running a business, um, you're very nurturing towards your team and everything. And sometimes you do have to make tough calls. And I realized those are areas in which I really needed to grow. The other areas, obviously starting a business as an artist, that was a huge learning curve for me. I still remember my first time when someone asked me what a P&L was, and I was 25, and I was just like, I got into art school, and I was like, okay, I need to like sit down, read a bit about the financial side of the business, and kind of grapple a lot more into that. But 5 years in, I kind of feel a lot more comfortable in that space now. But that was definitely a learning curve as well. And I know there's a lot of other artists out there that might want to start businesses, which is why I want to say that's the beauty of running a business. It's about going through your weaknesses and finding strength from it. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. So, what are you most proud of? What are your biggest achievements to date?
Gosh, I think having a company that's 5 years old, I would say, is definitely something I'm really proud of. I know there's so many moments where I think life tests you and you might want to give up, but when you keep pushing through it, it's a really rewarding process. But more than that, it's really the artists that I've met along the way, the stories that I've heard. I mean, I still remember, for one of my clients, um, we were looking for an art piece for him for like over a year. And then suddenly a moment clicked and, we're walking towards the gallery and this is a 70-year-old man. He like shoved me, like literally like with the elbow me. And there were like tears running through his eyes. He saw the work through the gallery window. And he's like, she's the one, you found her, you found her, like that's the painting. And that's a moment where I kind of realized this art is such a beautiful thing, that personal connection that we create every day. And I want to create so many more of those moments, so many more of those moments that are heart opener, so many more of those moments where we really help people find their art soulmate, where we help people maybe realize something that they love that they didn't even realize they loved. And we've gone through so many of those journeys, like collectors that for the longest time wanted colored artworks, but actually monochromatic works with texture, really talking about stories about social consciousness is something that really drove them as a family and really then made them start investing in charities because they realized that's their purpose as a family. And
Mm.
it's moments like that where we really art can bring people together. It can fix marriages. I've seen that happen as well. And in corporate collections, we've really empowered teams to overcome some leadership issues. We brought teams together to really think about their values over the art collection that we've curated. So those are these special moments that, for me, make up this journey.
Yeah, I love that it's about the stories.
Yeah.
Sneha, so what top tips would you give to someone listening to us now thinking, I want to have more art in my life? What tips would you give them? How do you start?
That's a great question. First, you start by going out there. Look as much as you can. Go to museums, go to people's houses, go to hotels, restaurants. Keep your eyes open. Even if it's not for sale, that's okay. Start training your eye and question yourself. What about this do I like? Why don't I like that? What is this trying to tell me? What does this say about me? Right? Use art as a self-reflective tool. Use art as a way of understanding yourself better, your tastes better. You'll know when you want to buy a piece. I always say never, I know a lot of galleries won't like me saying this, but for me, it's really like never buy an art piece the second you see it and you love it. You really want to buy it once you've slept on it for a night. If you're still thinking about it, if it comes in your dreams, that's when you know, okay, fine, it's going to be something that you want to think about and keep. A lot of galleries will allow you to even keep a piece in your house for a couple of days. Definitely do that. Test it out, get comfortable with it. You might only be charged for the shipping, but that's like a really good way to start really nurturing your collection and go slow. I understand that sometimes you really want to fill up the space, but if you want to really build a healthy art collection, if you're just starting out, start a piece at a time, pace yourself, because otherwise you'll end up with a collection that you might outgrow over 3 years, and you don't want that. Those would be my early tips.
Really good tips. Thank you so much. So we talked a little bit about the plans and goals, and you have outlined already a little bit. Would you like to get into a bit more detail? You've come from a place of leasing and you've gone into the art advisory. You got a new website coming. You've sort of explained your vision. What are the next, I don't know, 3 to 5 years looking like for you and Curaty?
So I really hope to see us expand globally. I really hope to see our like Curaty really exist in different places. We've just kind of opened our office in India as well. And a market that I really think is learning more about art. It's where I grew up, and I'm so proud to see people that, when I was going to art school, question me and now actually asking me for advice about how to start collecting. And that's such a rewarding feeling. I can't even express it, like genuinely. So if we can really help expand more horizons, I really do want to create a platform that will help a lot more people learn about this experience and do it our way. So that will be coming up as well. And so in the next 5 years, I really do see hopefully us hitting, as many walls as possible. We have a slogan that says no naked walls, and we actually count the number of walls we nail per year. And I really hope to see that really grow exponentially, and also the number of artists that we've helped over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's wonderful, and what an amazing business. And I'm so grateful that you took the time to tell your story today.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, really enjoyed this. Thank you, Stephanie.